Well, in some places in the world, they say we're live. That's what they say in some places in the world. In other places in the world, they say we don't want you to be alive. We don't want to hear from you. I know. Thank you all for stopping in early. Scott, expat in the Philippines. Howdy. Howdy, 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 how are ya? Good to see you. Chat me later, mate. Yes, I will do it. I have 2 videos rebuilding a CJ. Oh, nice. CJ bike upon my channel. I'll send you the link. A few things to do today, but we check it back soon. Nice. Thank you for that. Oh, my goodness gracious. Great balls of holy fart fires. Woo! Here we are again. You're live. We're live. Well, yes, we're doing something a little different today, as you can tell. And as you guys all know, there's a link. If you want to join the chat, we're going to do something a little different today, since we haven't. Let's see, where am I at? Does anybody know where I'm at, by the way? I don't know where I'm at. Hot in my office. I know that much. It's kind of hot in here. But thank you, everybody, for joining. It's kind of hot in here. See, let me get that turned down to know where I'm at. So we won't get too excited about anything for a little bit. We got some stuff to do. Things are going to come in later. So we'll just kind of hang out with you guys and go over some things. Check out the world. He got done watching a video from Bud Brown. He got his new trike scooter thingy-jingy going and up and running. Watching a video from Bud Brown. He got his new Rusi up. I think it's a Rusi. So that was always good to watch one of his videos. You know, it's kind of a weird weather day. Rained a lot. It is 7 p.m., August 1st. I did cook a cooking video earlier where I had to make some chicken for Lorelai's cooking dinner thingy-jingy, work dinner thingy-jingy that I complained a lot about. But now it's kind of gotten hot. It's kind of gotten hot on us. So, not real happy about that. But it is what it is. What are we going to do? I don't want to see that. Let's see. My camera looks kind of dirty. Let me polish the camera lens. Either the camera looks dirty or I'm dirty. One of the two. Maybe it's just low grade, low quality. There we go. Maybe it's starting to adjust up. But as always, I am your entertainment superstar for the night. I will be here in the next little bit. We thank you all for coming in, liking, subscribing, and sharing. I'm going to check some things out on the internet while we're doing all of this. Whew, man, but I'm hot for some reason. I am indeed stuffy out there or in here. I got the house fan going, and people keep saying that Jollibee has been crowned the best fast food fried chicken in the USA, surpassing every other fried chicken manufacturer in the United States of America. Now, I don't know if that's, I like Jollibee, don't get me wrong, but there's also Church's, there's several, all kinds of chicken joints. I don't know if they're the number one or not, but I think it's good. It's good. I truly don't know if Jollibee is the best fried chicken in America. I don't know how you could say it is, because I don't think enough of Americans have eaten Jollibee fried chicken to say it's the best fried chicken, right? So how can you do that? So Darren's, Warren's, and Wilson's in the house. Good to see you. Watching for Zimbabwe. Nice to have you. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for the thumbs up. If you haven't liked, subscribed, and shared, please do that. let us know how are things going in Zimbabwe. Pat's in the house. Good evening. I thought I would do a StreamYard versus a normal live stream that I've been doing all these months. See how things are going out there in the world. I've dropped the link. If anybody wants to come up and join me in the chat, you're welcome to in the panel. You can have your beautiful face and or image shown all over to the world. It's kind of hot in here though, Pat. You know, I know it's not super hot outside, but you know, it's kind of like you're in that in-between range, right? Where it's not hot outside, but it's not cool inside. Dennis, Pat saying hello to you. Dennis is probably out there oogling girls. Because that's what he does. He's a busy working man. There he is, the busy working man. Well, we got some chicken made for the wife's party. So she's gone to her party. I did win the lottery today. I thought I'd tell you that. I wanted to share that. I won $4 in the lottery. So I feel like that beach house is right around the corner. You know, I'm only what? $4 less than $5 million away from a new beach house. There you go. I won $4. Woohoo! First time in $10,000. So, Pat, how are things in your world? Doing all right? Good. Dennis, I just got done watching Bud Brown talking about his new Rusi scooter. That was pretty interesting. I feel like I'm getting old, Dennis, everybody, because I really like Bud Brown. And I realized he's getting old. He looks old. And then I started to think, well, maybe if he's getting really old, does that mean we're getting really old? Is that kind of how that works? I don't know, but we're all getting old. Yeah, I know, man. It's tough. You know, what do old people do? I mean, you know, and I know this is kind of a deep topic, but I got an eyelash in my eyeball because it'd be silly to have an eyelash in your foot. But it creeps up on all of us. But at some point in time, do we just give up and say, okay, we've gotten old, so we can never have our dreams that we want. We can't do physically the things that brings us a great joy, so we just give up and go, you know, is that what we have to do? Is that kind of where we're at in life, what we have to do? I don't know. So Craig's in the house. Good morning. Craig, how are you? We're doing something a little different today, as you can tell. Remember, if you're blue, you can drop your link without any issues. Craig, if you want to come up in the chat, you're welcome to. Dennis is too, but might have to charge Dennis extra. You know, he's the Canadian dream. I thought of it today. I've come up with a new name for Dennis. We're going to call it Dennis the Canadian Dream. Because I know all the women are dreaming of Dennis. So how's everything going in your world, Craig? Going good here, I guess. You know, it rained a bunch. I had to cook chicken out in the rain, barbecuing or grilling chicken in the rain. And, you know, it's not hot enough for the air conditioner to kick on, but it's not cool enough for it not to kick on. So we're kind of one of those weird little temperature phases in my house. So I got the fans running, trying to circulate air. But yeah, I was doing some stuff today and I was surfing the great big gigantic internet. And I was surprised how many apologies I've been seeing all over the internet. So I decided no more apologies. I want to tell everybody out there, quit apologizing. If you say something, own it. You know, just because somebody gets their panties in a wad because you said something, even the crazy ass woke people. Woke people, you don't have to apologize to me or to anybody else for being stupid or uneducated. You know, in 25 years, you don't have to come back and apologize for having your wiener cut off. You know, you don't have to do any of that. You know, everybody needs to quit apologizing. That Joey Smalls guy who talked about Hulk Hogan when he died, oh, he's in trouble because he talked about Hulk Hogan, how he was a mentor or role model when he was a little boy. Now he's backtracking and apologizing. Nah, just own it. It is what it is, people. Take a chill. Just quit apologizing. Look, the American Eagle thing with the Sweeney chick. I go back to this. I'll say this. When Bud Light did the DeBelly, what that Mulvaney person, I can't remember the name, the transgender, what Bud Light should have done is just owned it and said, we're not apologizing. This is what we want. This is how we wanted to do it. So we're going to do it. Why don't they just stick to it and do it? Boys at work, daughter and boyfriend leaving for Melbourne soccer match soon. I'm doing water changes right now for the fish tanks. Very nice. Pat says, yes, that's right. Dennis, James Robinson is catching on to the Canadian dream. Woohoo! James, how are you, buddy? James, I ordered some stuff from We the other day. When it gets in, I'm going to do a video about it. I got a couple of videos I'm going to line up about the Philippines. But I ordered some goodies, and it was really cool. I bought like $130 or $40 worth of things. But between the discounts and coupons, being a first-time buyer, I think I got it all for under $70. You know, and so it's kind of one of those enticements. The more you spend, the more you save. You know, Nightmare, the Canadian Nightmare. Ooh, there you go. That might be even better. The Canadian Nightmare. Can I be the American Dream? Oh, that's Dusty Rhodes. I can't be the American Dream. Maybe I can be the PAC Dream, or the Dream of the PAC. But Craig saying hello to you, James. James saying hello to you, Craig. So I'm going to do a video and show you guys some of the stuff I bought off of that. What's it called again, James? You know, We Store. If you guys don't know about this, let me pull it up and see if I can drop the link to it just so we have it. We Groceries. Our good friend James out of California sent this to me, or told me about it, and I Googled it. Say We, that's what it is. Where's StreamYard go? So that's the name of the company. It's like an online Amazon for Asian foods. But if you go to it, you can order stuff from every Asian country there is. You can get up to $20 off your first 2 orders, plus a free gift. And the more you shop, the more, you save all that crap. But they have a really cool thing, a drop-down menu. It says Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, Filipino food, and others. So a lot of cool stuff on there that you can order. Girls, well, I don't know about that. I don't know if you can order girls. Don't apologize for wanting girls. Don't apologize for being a girl. Don't apologize for being a man. Don't be apologetic for being a fat old guy like me. It's all right. I really do think society, we're apologizing too much. Whatever happened back in the day when people would just tell other people to shut the hell up and mind their own damn business? Whatever happened to those good old days, right? It wasn't too far long ago when people would look at people and just go, excuse me? But now it's like, I'm so sorry you're offended because my toe is brown, not blue or purple or green or black or ugly or hairy or Tom, Dick, or smelly. I don't know. Right on. Society is soft. Society is soft. It's a bunch of I'm trying not to be too non-PG. Society becomes a bunch of wussies. I mean, we're a wussified society. We're not gentrified. We're wussified. So I agree with that, and I don't understand it. I don't like it. I would rather be honest with people and people be honest with me, and I'd rather people say, look, I don't care if you don't like the fact that I like to snip women's shoes. But by God, I like it, so I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? I don't care if they don't. They go, well, I am partial to wiener dogs, Dachshunds, ours, versus cats. Oh my God, how dare you say that? You cat hater. You know, how dare you? We're going to boycott your channel now that we know that you hate cats. Well, I don't hate cats, but I don't really care if you think I hate cats or not. I don't really care. I don't care if you hate cats. You can hate cats how you like. You can eat cats for all I care. It's none of my business. I don't care. Tim is in the house. Good evening. How are things in the Philippines? It is weird weather here. Rainy, hot, not hot, steamy. What's the other word for steamy? What's the other word for steamy? Finally, inside to the real day. That's right. What's another word for steamy? Humidity. A lot of humidity. That's right, Craig. By golly. Sweltering? Yeah, that'd be a good one too. I mean, it's only, in the low 80s, but it rained and, it's just one of those yucky. So my house is yucky. I got the house fan running, I got my ceiling fan running, but it's, I don't know. I'm just bitching and complaining today. I want to bitch and complain, and I'm not going to apologize for it. And by God, if you guys don't like it, I don't care. You take it and shove it up your butthole or your bunghole or whatever that TV show was, if you remember right. Remember, if you guys want to join us in the thingamajiggy, you can. Craig is busy cleaning out his fish tanks. Dennis is busy looking like a Canadian nightmare, Canadian dream. But I don't know, I just saw a bunch of that today, and I thought, man, how stupid is that? I get so tired of listening to everybody apologize or make excuses. And, just own it. If you don't like something, it's okay. You have my permission not to like things. And maybe that's where we're at in society, is maybe we have to start giving people permission not to like things. So I want to go out there on the record. All right. You have my permission not to agree with people. You have my permission not to like things. You have my permission to voice your opinion. You have my approval to do whatever the hell you want to do. As long as you're not drunk and you don't run over a little baby in the street, quit making excuses for yourself. Well, even being drunk, that's an excuse, right? So I think it's funny. I just do. I enjoy it. Well, thank you all for the thumbs up. If you're new, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Subscribe to each other's channels. I will try to act like a tourist starting Wednesday night in the land of Canada. So you're going to be in Canada, right? You're going to be hanging out with the Canadian Dream, or AKA the Canadian Nightmare. They do have Canadian night crawlers, Dennis. I don't know if you thought about that, Canadian night crawlers. Oh, Pat says, I got to be right back, man. I got a phone call coming in. I got one of these very hot, sexy Filipinos that want to marry me calling me. Going, hi, Pat. I'm calling you all the way from the land of the Philippines. Have you thought about coming and seeing me and getting the K1 visa started so I can come over and give you some loving? I know what you're doing, Pat. You can't hide it from us, Pat. You can't do it, my friend. We know what's going on in your world. We do indeed. So, Tim, what are you going to do while you're in Canada? We're calling for more load. Yeah. I was talking to somebody about that the other day, Craig. That's an interesting one, Craig. How do we feel about that? Where are we to come down on that? Is it appropriate for the woman or the man to say, hey, I live in a far off country where the internet's not great. And if you want to talk to me, it wouldn't be a bad thing if you could help me pay for the method that I have to use to communicate with you. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Is it fair or unfair? Now, what I'm saying is, if they're not asking you for anything else, right? If they're not saying, hey, I need $200 because grandmother died again this month. And by the way, my internet bill needs to be paid. But if you're going to try to negotiate a relationship, how would you feel if they're like, well, would you want to volunteer it? Or would you want them to ask? Or would you be put off if somebody asked you that? Jim says, I'm going to be visiting my sister and her family in the Great Land of Canadian lands. Nice. Individual choice. I'll be eating fresh foods and home cooking. Woohoo. How long are you going to be in Canada for? A month? Or 2 months? 6 months? 3 months? 2 months? 2 days? Well, I think it is a choice. But does it, I guess my question is, it doesn't seem unrealistic or out of line from my perspective to go, oh, if Dennis wants to cover and make sure that a girl that he's flirting with on the internet can flirt back. You know what I mean? If I wasn't married, and Lorelai and I were still doing that whole thing, which I think I did. I volunteered. I don't remember. I'm so old. But it wouldn't, I don't know, to me, it's not out of line to say, hey, yeah, I'm enjoying visiting with you, so let me make sure that you got an extra $25 to pay a load on your phone so that we can continue to conversate, so that we can reach out. Now, if you give them the money and they got somebody better to talk to on the internet, well, that's a problem. If they're using your donation to hook up with other dudes, well, now that's a problem. But if you're stupid enough to do that, well, then that's your problem, right? You will pay it if it involves in phone. Well, you got that right. I think most men, even if they're using it on other men, as long as they get a little phone nucky, they would probably be okay with it. I would agree. But somebody was asking me about that today. Somebody sent me a message about that. And I told him exactly what Craig said. It's your choice. If you got the extra money, doesn't hurt you financially, and you want to talk to that girl that much, well, then send her the money, right? Otherwise, she may not be able to talk to you. Tim says, I will be there for 2 weeks. My sister can put up with me for 2 weeks. I can put up with her for 14 days. It's a big difference. 14 days and 2 weeks is a big difference. I'm telling you. I have kind of like a 3-day rule. I don't like to stay with anybody more than, well, actually, I don't like to stay with anybody, period. But, if I do, it's one night and out. One and gone. One and done. But, yeah, I'm with you there, man. What do they say? Visitors are like fish. They start to stink after 3 days. Yeah, I don't know. But what are you guys going to do besides, you just going to hang out at the house, Tim? I mean, are you going anywhere? You coming to the great country of America to talk to Donald? Are you just going to literally hang out for a couple of weeks? Or are you going to go see any natural parks or? Oh, and here's another weird thing, and it just happened. We've been inundated. Inundated? Is that the right word? We've had probably 20 to 30 hummingbird sightings today at the house. We feed hummingbirds. We never really get them. But I just had 3 of them outside my window. But we feed them out back where I sit. We've had hummingbirds off the charts today for some reason. I don't know why. Little money invested can tell you a lot of info about the character and the money well spent. I would agree. I agree, man. Um, Sometimes it's good to drop a little cash so that you can learn a lot, right? Might go a little local, see some different attractions. Nice. I agree. I think there is an art, and I tell guys this. I know this is maybe a little tacky, but it's okay to set your person up. Let's see what they do with that money. Let's see where it really goes, what they really spend it on, and what they really think. So sometimes it's worth coughing up a couple $100 to learn the true intentions of a person so you're not wasting even more money down the road. That's because all the animals are leaving Yellowstone. Where are they going? If they're leaving Yellowstone, where are the animals going? That's what I want to know. Do you think Bigfoot's leaving? Or is Bigfoot one of the ones that's saying, I'm not leaving, I'm staying. I'm going to be a Yellowstoner for life. Yellowstone or for life. Keep that in mind. So I do think it's a good opportunity to learn a lot. You know, I felt really bad, and I've told the story. Now, when Lorelai and I, the Mrs. PAC, were dating way back in 1901, that she had a job and everything, and I told her to quit her job. I'd just pay her expenses because it wasn't that big of a deal. And she could work on the K-1 visa process and everything else we needed to do, right? So I told her, I'll just cover your expenses. I volunteered. But I got to admit, 1 month I forgot because, I was busy working. I had a career. I don't think about a few $100s a month was that big of a deal to me. So I forgot 1 month. And I was talking to her one day, and I guess I asked her, I said, so what are you eating? I said, hey, blah, blah, blah. What are you eating tonight? And we always did FaceTime back in the day in 1901. And she said something about that she borrowed noodles or something from her friend or something. I don't know what it was. And at first it didn't dawn on me, because me, I'm a dumb guy. I don't really think of anything. And then it started, and I'm like, what do you mean? I don't understand. What are you eating? And she explained it to me, and I'm like, well, why don't you just go to the store and get some? Why are you borrowing your noodles from Karen? And she's like, well, I don't have any money. I'm like, why don't you have any money? I don't understand. Why don't you have any money? I give you money, on a regular basis. She's like, well, no, you actually don't. You forgot. And I'm like, what? When did I forget to give you money? She's like, I don't know, 5-6 weeks ago. And I'm like, what? Why in the hell wouldn't you tell me that I didn't give you any money? It's like, well, and I'm like, oh my God. I don't know. Many people want to go everywhere and be very busy when they're on vacation. I enjoy relaxing once I get there. Yeah, I'm half and half. I'm a halfer and a halfer. Not a heifer and a heifer, but a halfer and a halfer. I kind of like to say, I don't want to burn the candle at both ends, but I definitely want to go and do something I can't do at home. And that could be simple things. But if I can do it at home, then why would I come to your hometown and do the exact same thing? I can just do it at my house. So I'm one of those. But I don't like to burn candles at both ends. I don't like to be running and gunning. But I do take advantage. Like when we go on cruises, I do take advantage of the fact I'm on a cruise. And I will kill myself for 7 days, then come home and die for 2 months. But because I know I'm not going to get the opportunity. But I do got to admit, for me, I'm one of these weirdos that I really enjoy luxury, nice things. So when I do travel, I like to take advantage of anything nice that I can expose myself to. So I feel good about the fact that I'm poor, that I'm a poor old guy. So, oh, he's fine. Bigfoot's fine. He's interdimensional, so no problem for them. Nice. That's good. I guess sometimes I worry about my friend Biggie. My friend Biggie. I stress over him. I worry about him, and you know, um, I don't want him to go away. I like Bigfoot. I actually think Bigfoot might taste good. Does anybody ever think about this? All of these weird creatures. What is it? Cryptozoology. Like the chupacabra, Loch Ness monster, Bigfoot, aliens, extraterrestrials, not illegal aliens, extraterrestrials, um, the swamp monsters, the Mothman, all these other creatures. Does anybody ever stop and go, I wonder if they taste good? Because I do. I sit there sometimes and go, I wonder if they could be another food source. Would Mothman, who supposedly eats people every so many years, would he be good eating? What about the chupacabra, the blood sucking goat eater guy or creature? Would that be all right? Bigfoot, he eats probably a lot of nuts and berries. He might taste good. Only the female ones. Well, as long as they've had a shower recently. As long as they've been swimming recently and had a shower, I think we can say yes. I make no apologies for wanting to eat cryptozoology thingamajiggies. I don't want to call them animals because we don't know if they are animals. They may be invertebrate. I don't know what they are. I make no apologies for wanting to eat strange living creatures on the planet Earth or in space for that matter. Right? I don't know. I don't think people taste good because I think people are so sour that I don't think people would taste good. I really don't. I know there's numerous cases of cannibalism, but I don't think anybody of them, besides the crazy people, has ever said, "Ooh, gee, that human, he sure did taste good." I know. But what do we know? What do we know? But one day, Bigfoot and I are going to do a live stream together. I'm going to find Bigfoot. And we're going to try to do a live stream. I talked to Ken Unger this morning, by the way, everybody. Ken is only about a year away from retirement, by the way, and he's headed to the Philippines permanently. He stopped in on my chicken live stream earlier. So many lines. I know. Ken's doing good, by the way. I thought I'd mention that and tell you that. He seems to be getting excited. He says the U.S. car business is a little slow, but he doesn't care because he's about a year away from the Philippines. So he's excited about that. But yeah, I don't know, man. I really did. Saw that today, and I saw all these damn people trying to apologize this week for this or that. But what you never hear is the person who killed a bunch of people apologizing. Well, gee, I sure am sorry that I murdered those 38 people. No. People are running around going, oh my God. Nobody expects that person to apologize. That's what's funny. The guy that just killed 2 people here in Arkansas, they arrested him this week getting his hair cut. He admitted, yeah, I did it. Well, nobody expects him to apologize. Now, they're going to want to put him to death, but they don't expect him to apologize. But if you say something about Bud Light or Taco Bell or the Blue Jean Sweeney chick or a woke person's penis getting cut off, well, then they want you to apologize. But hey, we don't expect a murderer to apologize. Jeez. Oh, I like this one. Tim says, what's the difference between a northern zoo and a redneck zoo? Northern zoos has signs of what the animal is. Redneck zoos have signs with recipes. I like that. That's actually a pretty good one. I wonder if I go to the zoo, now here's something I'm going to have to apologize for. So the next time I go to a zoo, I'm going to Google recipes for like horse, zebra, giraffe, hippo, elephant, all the animals that the zoo has. and I'm going to print out little recipe cards, and I'm going to take them to the zoo, and I'm going to take some tape, and I'm going to do a live stream, and I'm going to tape recipes for the zebra on their little plaque. Do you think I'd get in trouble for that? Do you think anybody would hate on me for doing that? That's a really good concept. I think that would be a fun thing to do. Maybe I could become like, I can't even remember their names now, but the kid that's locked up in Korea, Johnny Somalia or something, in Korea. Maybe the next time I go like the Dallas Zoo, the Texans will lock me up and throw me away for putting the rest of what now Texas won it. Texas would probably go, oh, thank you. But, oh man. That'd be a lot of fun though. That'd be really interesting to make up cards and tape them to the displays. Man. See, Tim, you know what type of trouble you just caused? You're liable to get me locked up and thrown in a zoo jail for doing that. Man, that's crazy. But man, I'm thinking about it. You got me thinking now. We're going to have to start Googling recipes for like otters and bears. And I know we have them because we eat bear meat in America. I don't know about otters, but I think we're going to have to do that. You guys are going to have to help me find some recipes for that. I'm kind of excited about that one now. Wouldn't that be a good little funny prank? Pigs? I guess do you have pigs at zoos? I don't know. Pig is too easy. I guess you could go to the police station and send them pork recipes. Maybe that'd be funny, or donut recipes, but they're probably like the donut recipes. But I think that'd be very interesting. Now, I mean, I got a niece that's a professional horse trainer, and she raises horses. Now, I can tell you this. As much fun as it would be for me, she would murder me if I send her a Christmas card with a horse recipe in it. So I got to be careful about my target audience. But random people at the zoo who's walking by to see the giraffe and go, oh, what's this little card? And they flip it up and it says giraffe. Slow cook at 400 degrees over 4 hours, diced with onion, garlic, a little soy sauce. Yeah. Seasoned with cumin, Tim says, I can't be held accountable for your actions. That's right. Tim, when I have to go public and make my apology for putting recipes cards all over the zoos, I'm going to say it was your fault. I'm going to preface this, my apology for offending the world, saying I was highly influenced by Tim. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw you under the bus. I'm going to smack you, throw you under the bus and say, Tim did it. Tim told me to do it. Tim told me it was the right thing to do it. I apologize, but I didn't know any better. I did not know any better. That's what we're going to be doing. That's what we're going to be talking about. That's how I'm going to explain it away. Say, I would never have done that except for Tim told me to do it. I mean it. I wouldn't. I won't own it. I won't say, gee, I wanted to be a smart ass, and say, gee, I never thought that would be offensive to anybody. Gee, I never thought by dry humping a statue of a little Korean lady in Korea would be offensive to anybody. So the real question is this. Will anybody come to my defense? Or will everybody throw me under the bus and say, well, that moron got what he deserved? Will anybody come to your defense? And I think that's where we got to be at in this society right now. We got to do better at becoming, blame Jeff Foxworthy, the comedian. I saw something about him today, actually. Um, yeah, you got to blame somebody. Can I just say I was inspired by the Democratic Party? They want to be all inclusive. And I thought this is my way of becoming a better Democrat. Maybe I can do that. Maybe this is my way of wanting to become a Budweiser drinker? Bud Light drinker? Whatever it is. I don't know. Or this is my way of wanting to wear more jeans. I don't know. I love the fact that how many people are hating on jeans now. I just think that's the stupidest thing. And I hate to say it again, and no apologies, but all the fat, ugly people are the one bitching and complaining that some good-looking chick has a commercial out there. He's responsible for the zoo ideal. Jeff is. Did he come up with that? I haven't seen his comedy routine in quite a while. I like the Ma and Pa Kettle storytelling, and what's the other guy? The guy that Steve Harvey, right? And the rest of the story is. I really enjoyed those. I would figure somebody like Rodney Dangerfield or Sam Kinison would be more about, hey, when you go to the zoo, it's okay to take a leg, lift up that leg and see which animal they are, which type they are. So, I tell you one comedian that I always hated, and he was popular in my part of the world, but I hated it, was that Vern. You guys know who Vern was? Jim Varney, I think was his name. Hey, Vern. Hey, Vern. Kind of reminded me of a Ace Ventura pet detective type. Hey, Vern. He was very popular in this part of the world. Paul Harvey. Oh, Paul Harvey. All right. I like Paul Harvey. I can never get his name right, but I really like Paul Harvey's storytelling. I've actually tried to model myself off of his storytelling, but I can't do it because I suck. But Jim Varney or Jim Vern or Hayvern or something like that, that guy always irritated. I just wanted to smack him. What was his name? Jim Varney, Hayvern? Vern. Oh, Hayvern, it's Ernest? That guy always irritated me. If the animals wear jeans, everyone would be fine with it. I would agree. Jim Varney, yes, remember him, right? Hey, Vern, this is your piggy bank. Yeah, it's interesting. I like the jeans thing. It's getting great play in America. I know about the Philippines or Australia, but they're doing good with it here in America. That the jeans, they got all kinds of people having a good time with the jean ads. With the sweetie chick, and what's funny is I did see where a couple of people in the right mind came out and said, "Now look, people," because I saw this on like CNN or I don't know, somebody that had half of a mind were running their mouth today about going, "Oh my God, it's sexism, it's racism, it's Nazism, it's everythingism." Um, but somebody pointed out the fact, and I don't know if you guys need me to show you the chick again. Let me know. I'll show you pictures of her. Um, But there's others saying, it was the norm before 2020 to have sexy people in their commercials. Somehow in the last 24 years, with the woke population, it's a bad thing to have good-looking people in commercials to sell your products. But before then, it was the norm, and they're like, well, but it still didn't make it right. And as I said the other day, you should do whatever you want to sell your product. And I go back to Bud Light. If Bud Light truly thought that having some transgender person sell beer was going to get them more sales, and they should have never apologized for it. They should have stepped up to the plate and said, no, we think this is good and we're going to go with it. Now, it didn't work out for them, did it? Biggest issue in the world right now, it seems, sums it up right now. Yeah. Biggest issue in the world right now is the hot, sexy chick wearing blue. Yeah. Blows your mind, right? You got to read. It is the hottest thing in the internet right now. But you got to love her for it, because I hope she got royalties. I hope she was smart enough to say, look, every time my ad plays or my name gets mentioned, that you guys got to pay me versus not a one-time fee. Because she should be a gazillionaire by now, because her name is all over the internet so much. Her images, her memes are out there. People are now influencers like myself. We're running off to American Eagle to buy the exact same outfit she's wore, and we're putting them on and wearing them on TV saying, well, how do I look in my jeans? So you got a whole crop of idiots like me out there, and some women that actually aren't ugly, out there that are doing this for shits and giggles, which is really funny to me, which helps everything, right? And then we got people standing, which I think is really funny, because have you ever been to an American Eagle outfitter store? There's nobody in those stores. Every time I've seen one in any mall, anywhere, there's maybe one or two people in the whole store. There's just, I don't know why, but it never seems like there's ever anybody in those stores. So today I saw a thing where some woke people were standing outside of an American Eagles outfitters or whatever in some mall somewhere. And they're not standing right outside of it. They're probably 70 yards, 50 yards away from the entrance of it in the mall. And they're like, see, our boycott's working. And there's like 2 or 3 people in the store milling around. They're like, our boycott's working. Nobody's going there. And I'm sitting there going, you idiots. Nobody went in the damn stores to begin with. Except for maybe teenage girls on the weekends or something. But, oh man. Craig, what's the biggest issue in Australia right now? Do you guys know who Sydney Sweeney is? Are you guys talking about her and her cleavage and her Mustang, her wild, evil ways, her genetics in Australia? So, I don't know. It's just crazy. It's crazy, Craig. But you're right. Biggest issue right now is that. And the fact that it came out today that apparently internet freedom, is that the only freedom we have? Here's the question. Is the internet the only freedom we have? Well, not according to Craig, because poor Craig in Australia is getting ready to get his freedom whipped out from him. Woohoo! Australia is taking that away. But in all seriousness, is it the only freedom we have? I mean, can we go out in public and shout and rout and have a good time? We can't put signs in our yards anymore. We can't paint our cars how we want them. We can't mow the grass the way we want it. We can't plant the flowers we want anymore. We can't hang an American flag up. We can't do any of that because, we can't be white. We can't be black. We can't be purple. We can't be anything. We can't be non-racist. We can't be racist. We can't be anything. Never heard of that lady or that company before last week. I've heard of the company. But I truly thought it was one of those stores that's kind of like a fake store. I thought it was like maybe a front for the mob or something. Because I never saw anybody at them in the malls. You got one in the Philippines. I saw it in the Philippines, right there by H&M. They're one of the stores that are kind of like H&M, but I've never really seen anybody buy anything from there. I think um, maybe they sell a lot online. I don't know, but I've heard of the store. But I always thought it's called American Eagle Outfitters. So maybe they're rebranding. I don't know. Now, Sydney Sweeney, if you live in America, it's hard not to know who she is because there's definitely a lot of movies that she's in and stuff. She's very popular and she's very well blessed in the genetics department, which is apparently the problem. So, but would and somebody said on the internet today or on the news media today that whatever, would you rather see, what's her, I can't remember what her damn name is, Sydney Sweeney, or would you, oh, it's a meme about some guy giving a lecture talking about, would you rather see a beautiful, hot, sexy chick modeling clothes or a 400-pound fat chick modeling clothes? Which would you prefer to see? And which do you think would sell more product line? I mean, if you're trying to sell diet pills, maybe the fat chick. If you're trying to sell donuts, maybe the fat chick. But if you're wanting women to feel good about buying your clothes and men to buy their wives their clothes, wouldn't you want a good looking chick? I don't know. I think she's blessed, Tim. I've seen her acting career. She hasn't changed, and she's not young. She's like 30, maybe 32. So she's been around for a long time. Um, and my wife likes her. I think she's a good actress. We've seen a lot of movies with her in it, and she hasn't changed. And I'm trying to be very tactful so I don't get myself in trouble. But when she moves around, you can tell that she's all natural. So she flows very easily. She has free movement in her body compared to others that doesn't wiggle or jiggle. If that makes any sense. But she looks the same that she did 10 years ago, except for a little older. But she's not like a 20-year-old girl or anything like that. She's an older woman, 30, 32 years old. I don't know how old she is. How old is she? Oh, shit. All right, so she was born September the 12th of 1997 in Spokane, Washington. So if she was born in 1997, how old does that make her? She's been on Criminal Minds, Grey's Anatomy. She's been around forever. She was born in 97. So she's not real old, but not young like, me. She's more old, so she's right in there. But she doesn't look like she's had anything done to her. And I think that's probably the problem. They don't have anything, and she seems to be a decent human being. I don't think she probably is. I don't know. But when you see her doing live television spots she's 28. See, that's close to 32. But when you see her, she's always lighthearted type of person. She kind of reminds me of, oh my God, I can't remember that chick's name from a few years ago. I don't know. Too many of them to think of. But 28 years old. She's been in a whole bunch of movies, TV series, you name it. She's been there, done that. So it's not like they picked her up off the street, dusted her off, and threw her out there. And but I don't think we ought to apologize. Companies shouldn't apologize for trying to sell beer by letting transgender people be a part of the club. I don't know. I'm okay with that. I didn't think it was a very good business decision, but I'm okay with it. So Pat says, I'm back. Back. How was the phone call, Pat? Did you get to speak to a honey bunny? So I don't know. No, I want everybody to agree not to apologize anymore. I think we need to go back to just being who we are. No, no, no. Well, tell them you know Dennis. Pat, it may help you gain favor if you tell them you know Dennis. Say, hey, I know Dennis, the Canadian Dream. So maybe the Filipinas will be fancy ya. Will fancy ya. A lot of good Filipinos out there, a lot of good channels out there to go and check out. So, but tomorrow we got to go to Branson. Anybody want to go to Branson with us tomorrow? So I know some of our locals are going to watch this, live streams. I got to be careful what I say, but I'm taking my wife to Branson, Missouri tomorrow. I don't know what we're going to do there, but apparently we got to go to Branson. Pat wants to go to Branson. Tim says, welcome back, Pat. Tim, if you were already here, you could go to Branson with us and hang out. I haven't decided if I'm going to do a live stream in downtown Branson again like I did a few months ago, but I don't know. Apparently we're going to go to Branson, and I'm not going to apologize for going there. We're going to take our dog Lily with us in her doggy stroller, and I'm not going to apologize for that. And if I do a live stream, I won't apologize for that. I do need to buy a new pair of slip-in Skechers. So I was trying to buy my slippers last time, but they don't have them anymore. But at that time, I didn't realize I needed to buy new slip-in shoes. So when I go tomorrow, maybe I'll look at buying a pair of slip-in shoes because I really like them. If you're old and you're broken down and wore out like me, buying those Skechers slip-ins are really nice. Tim, maybe in Canada, you can get you a pair to take home with you to the Philippines. They come in really, well, you probably don't want to wear tennis shoes in the Philippines. They're too hot on my feet. I never wore my tennis shoes in the Philippines. My feet got too hot and too sweaty then. We're getting kind of excited. We got to figure out what we're doing in life. I'm really disappointed. I don't get to go and have any fun. My dream is over for this year already. The year is halfway over, and I have no dream for this year. So next year, I was hoping to move away this year and go fishing more, and all of my dreams have gone down the toilet thanks to Dennis. But next year, we don't know what we're doing. We may go on a European cruise. 27, we got to go back to the Philippines and make a decision about the Philippines. Roy Clark was. He was one of the first ones, many thousands of years ago. He was. When I was a kid, I remember his Roy. He's not there anymore. He's dead. Dolly Parton still has a place there. So, and the Presleys have a place, but my wife's not into country music. Roy Clark and the Yankovic guy. Remember the Weird Al? No. The Russian guy. The Russian comedian guy. It's not Weird Al Yankovic. It's something else. Wore the Russian hat and did the weird dancing. He has a theater there. But Branson could be, I tell people this. I really believe this. If I was the mayor of Branson, I would figure out how to get young artists to come there. How to get the people that win American Idol to come there and do a month or two. Or like they do in Vegas. How you get a guest star to come in for a month and do a bunch of shows? I would try to get younger artists in there and revamp that place and cause it to explode again. Because when I go there, there are some young people there, but they only go there for shopping. But when I'm one of the younger people there, we know it's a damn my ass old place. So there's not, Tim, there's not. What I've looked at with the cruises, because we love cruises. If you Google cruises in the Philippines, it does come up as a cruise port, but there's never any cruises that go to and or from the Philippines. But Manila's listed as a port, but no cruise lines actually does it. That's why a couple years ago, when it was considered the best cruising location in Southeast Asia, it was shocked because no cruise ships landed there or left from there. But you do have Southeast Asia, China, Japan, not China, I guess Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Thailand, places like that. We would really like to, I can't speak for my wife anymore because I don't know what my wife wants. My wife and I don't want the same things when it comes to things in life, for the big things, for the fun things, for retirement. She has a different view than I do. I would travel all the time and I'd love to go to Thailand and Hong Kong and Vietnam and Singapore and everywhere else in Australia. Oh yeah, Yakov Smirnov. Yeah, that's it. But no, there's no cruises. But Tim, you could catch a plane to Hong Kong or Singapore and do a cruise out of there. And Tim, you're close, and that was part of the disappointing thing about us living in the Philippines. One of the reasons we moved to the Philippines was so that we could take advantage of being closer to Asia and closer to Australia and get to take cruises. But everything went downhill so fast for us that we never even got out of the freaking area. So it didn't work out. That never metabolized. It never manifested. It never happened. So we didn't get to do any of that. Now, back in 27, we got to go back and figure out if we're going to build a Royal retirement home or what we're doing, or we're just going to do nothing. We don't know what we're doing. But there's part of me that says, maybe we should build a nice home on the land that we have, go back there and try to live again and do all of that, and or do 5 and 7, 7 and 5, whichever it may be. And if we don't get any more dogs, maybe it's doable. If you have pets, it's horrible to try to do. But if I was you guys in the Philippines and Craig, I would be doing cruise. Craig has some great cruises where he's at. Now, he may not care because Craig's in Australia. So it's kind of like us in America. I'm not too excited about going on American cruise but New Zealand, Australia has some great cruise ports. And Tim, you're not that far from that. And while you're still a young, fairly healthy man, maybe catching a plane to one of those other destinations would not be a bad thing. You are going to put your wife in a retirement home. Well, I've been trying. I've been trying like hell. I'm ready to retire. I'm tired of the cold weather, but she likes working. I'm ready for retirement. Yeah, she needs to be. Yeah, or she doesn't got to retire, Tim. She could just work from home. I'd be okay with that because then we can live wherever we want. But yeah, I mean, and maybe this is a big question: is I have no money. Well, that's because you have a gigantic family. Your kids or children, or your children are no longer kids, so they cost even more money. But make sure you visit them often in the nursing home, in the old people home, retirement home. Um, and the question is this, and this is for all of you older guys who maybe are married to Filipinas or have your Filipina. They're going to outlive us, right? Our wives, our women folk, because they're younger than us, the odds are they're going to outlive us. So what should the priority be? Should the priority be everything I want to do while I'm still alive because I'm going to die a lot sooner than they will, or everything they want to do because they're going to live longer and they need more money to live longer? So it's kind of like one of the things I talk to a lot of people about. What do you do? Which is the way to go? Is it selfish to go, hey, I don't want to live where it's cold, even though I know you can make a lot of money here? But you got to make sure you visit them often. And Craig has no money because the children are young adults now. And I think when your children are young adults, they cost more money than they do when they're young children, right? I think. From everybody I know, from family members and friends, when their children gets to be 16, 17, 18, 20, 22, they seem to be way more expensive than they were when they were 8, 10, and 12. So, I don't know. So, Craig, you might be at that stage where it's not going to get any better. No money, no honey. No honey, no money. Could go both ways. If you're a honey salesperson and you have no honey, then there is no money, right? But then again, as you get older, do you really need honey? Would you rather have money than honey? Which would you rather have? All of you old timers. I know what Dennis's answer is, but yeah, I mean that's a valid question. It's kind of like Gary, which we all love Gary. So I'm not picking on Gary, but Gary's probably one of the older people we know, right? So in Gary's life, is it better to have the money or the honey? Craig says yes when they get older. So you know what I mean, right, Craig? Not going to get any cheaper. And then they're going to hook up and get a boyfriend, get a husband, get a fiance, get a girlfriend, and that's going to cost you more money. So, and then they're going to want to buy a house. That's going to cost you more money. It never ends, Craig. Craig, my goodness gracious. Man, Craig, I tell you what, if I win more than $4 in the lottery, I'll share it with you. But right now, all I got is a $4 ticket. But I would have shared with you if I would have won $5. Just saying. Just like it okay. Well, that's what you got to ask yourself. I mean, do you get to that point in life where you go, well, the honey's good, but, if you have money, honey will become available. Yeah, whether you want them to or not, right? As Dennis has been referring them to lately, what do they call it? The wallet tribe. He likes to call them the wallet tribe. If you want that honey, you just flash open that honey, which is inside your wallet. Say, look. And then in the Philippines and Thailand and other countries, Mexico, all you got to do is wave it around like this. Man, they can smell it a mile away. Say, come on, baby. Baby, rock my world. How many dollars you got in there? So, if I had money and if I had honey, real honey, not my honey, but honey, the real honey, I'd share, but I have neither. That's why I e-beg, because I am neither. Craig says, set up a business and a car in these last 7 months for daughter. Yes. But I do it because I can. Yeah. And I think that's a good thing. I think it would have been nice, Craig, if I would have had somebody in my life who would have been able to, would have cared enough, and would have had the inkling to do something for me as a young person. I did not. I had nobody, nothing, nada. So my brother does pretty well by his kid, and I think it's really nice, and he spends a lot of money, but they got money on his kid, right? And I think it's really nice. I think it can be a double-edged sword, but what else are you going to do with the money, right, Craig? We can't live forever. We can't take it with us. Don't you think it's better to help your children get a foothold in the world versus struggling? Nobody in my family ever wanted to help me. Could they have had? Yeah, but they chose not to. But what I found was funny was shortly thereafter, when I started getting my shit together, making my own way, I thought it was very ironic how nobody in the family wanted to help me. But once they thought I had money, boy, they sure did come a knocking. They sure did come a knocking, going, hey, yeah, woohoo, give me the money. Yeah, let me borrow your new car. Let me borrow this. Yeah, come on now, So, but I don't think it's a bad thing for you to try to help out the family. I don't. But I think you got to have a happy balance. I tell my brother that sometimes you got to let kids do it for themselves so they know how to do it. And or putting measures in place that teaches them what you're doing. So it's kind of like, they don't become so dependent on that monthly check, as I tell my brother, but they need to be held accountable so they can learn how to manage that, recognize how important it is, how valuable it is, and to take advantage of that situation. So that's what I think. I don't know. But you've been busy there in your part of the world, Craig, for sure. My wife is saving up money to get her one of those King Louis purses. And, I think it's a little silly, but it's going to make her happy. She's going to buy a King Louis purse this winter. And I get a lot of people, give me shit about it. But I tell them this. My wife, my Filipino wife, you guys all know, who's going to buy her first King Louis purse, has a job, she works, she makes money, and she's looking at this as an achievement. And I equate this to the same thing I went through as a young person, going to college, getting a job. The first time I was able to say, hey, I have enough money, I have enough credit that I can walk into a new car dealership and buy me a brand new car off the lot, was a big deal, right? It was a big deal to be able to say, I am financially secure enough that I can go and do this even though I don't have to. And so my wife was at that stage in her career that, yeah, can she drop that much money on a new purse? Is it the wisest thing she knows? No, it's not the wisest, but can she do it? Sure. So it's kind of like a feather in her cap, and or what you call maybe a reward for good behavior, for everything that she's been doing and continue to do. So I'm okay with her dropping that big chunk of money on one of those King Louis if it makes her happy, because I understand the psychology behind it. And I'm good at that. I don't know about other people. Other people go, oh my God, that's it's only worth like $10. It's made in China or Chinese made, or they're all garbage, whatever you want to call them. But I get the fact that it may not be worth the money that you pay at retail. The manufacturer cost is nowhere near what we're going to wind up paying for it, but it makes her happy. She's worked for the money. She's earned the money. And like I said a second ago, the fact that she can walk into a store and buy the one that she wants, especially coming from a third world country, she never thought growing up that she'd be able to do this. Me growing up, I always knew that in America, that if I got a good job and worked hard, I could go buy me a new car down. I knew I would get there. Didn't know when, but I knew I would get there. I agree my wife works and she can do what she wants with the money. Exactly. Now, we have financial common goals, right? Which I think is very important. You got to have common financial goals. And within that parameter, things have to be taken care of. But outside of that parameters, they should be free to do. And we're that way. My wife's doing that, is that way. I'm to that point in my life where there's really nothing small I want anymore. I don't really need anything. Would I like to have new cars? Sure. I really want that damn beach house that nobody will give me $5 million for, but whatever. But I don't really need more fishing tackle. I don't need a nice new truck. I got an old truck, which is fine. I don't have any. I'd like to have another wiener dog, maybe. That's expensive. But for my wife, coming from the perspective of growing up in the Philippines, she never thought she'd be a homeowner. Right? In America, homeowner is pretty common. She probably never thought she would drive a car. She never dawned on her that she might own a car in America, right? I'm not saying she didn't work hard, and she knew that she would have to work hard to get things in the Philippines, but it's a totally different standard of living. So if she wants to save up and go, okay, I want to buy this big ticket item because I can, well, I guess I'm all right. I am. I'm all right with that. As long as we're not in debt, we don't got to go in debt for it. And all of our bills are paid and we're living. Now, granted, my dream of the beach house isn't reached. Could that money go towards my dream of a beach house? Absolutely, but it's still not going to come close to the beach house. We are lucky. We are set up now. We own everything, no debt. Excellent. She helped me out so much to get where we are, so it's time to enjoy what she wants now. I agree. The only debt we have is our house. And I don't like that. You know, Craig, you and I are about the same age. We're at that age where I'd really like to be debt free. I'd be willing to downsize and downgrade my living just to have the satisfaction of being debt free. My wife is still young and likes a pretty nice house and all that. So she doesn't see it as a priority as much as I do. But I like the financial freedom of being debt free. But the only debt we have is our house. And maybe next year, if the interest rates drop, we can make a financial gain in that area also. But yes, we've enjoyed our life together. We've traveled all over the world a lot, a bunch of cruises, trips, tried living in the Philippines, been here, done that. My wife really doesn't want for anything small. If she wants to go buy new clothes, she goes buy new clothes. If she needs it, she needs it. New shoes, whatever. Now, she may have too many pairs of shoes. So as a side hustle, if anybody wants some women's shoes, reach out. Man, I'll make you a good deal. She won't even know they're gone. So, but I'm with you. They work hard. She's been part of the success, part of the handicap, but part of the success. Because I like to really deep down into things, and you do got to say, well, okay, from my perspective, would I financially be better off if I never got married? Maybe. I don't know. Am I financially better off being married? I don't know. Maybe. But there's way more to that than the dollars. Not just financially, but inspired me to be a better man, husband, and father. Exactly. So it's not a dollar to dollar thing. Am I richer today than I was the day I married her? I don't know. Has she more than earned her own way in life? Absolutely. So she's not a negative financial drain, right? But so if you look at it dollar to dollar, who knows? You could probably do a mathematical formula and figure all that out. But if that's the only thing you're looking at, then you're pissing up the wrong tree. You're going the wrong direction. And I don't think you can look at that at all. I think you got to look at the other things that your partner brings to you, whether it's a man or a woman from anywhere. What are the non-financials that they bring? A friend got his wife a job. She got promoted within 2 years. She bought him a new truck with her bonus. Woohoo! Rocket baby. Well, I tell my wife this all the time. My wife has the ability to go up a corporate ladder like nobody's business. My wife's extremely smart, extremely good, extremely efficient at jobs. She really is. She could earn way more money than she does. But she doesn't necessarily she doesn't necessarily have the confidence to chase those higher dreams for whatever reason it is, whether it's because she's from the Philippines, because she doesn't feel like she has enough of an education, yada, 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 right? But she could achieve so much more. And I tell her that, yeah, it'd be great if she could buy me a new vehicle with her bonus money. But her bonus money is going to get her a purse. So, but yeah, I'm with you, Tim, and I get that. My big thing is I guess the reason, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. I'd really like for her not to work or just to work from home so that we have more time together. But then again, I wouldn't mind if she made a whole lot more money so that we could have a nice house debt free and have money to travel. It's kind of a weird double-edged sword. Her bonus is over 50 grand yearly. That is nice. That's a healthy bonus. See? And he's sitting there going, woohoo. And I know a lot of guys I talk to are interested in foreign women. I tell them, I said, now, if you're worried about the money, I want you to think of this as a business opportunity. Very rarely, unless you're just one of these idiot guys that are stuck on you, who doesn't want their wives to work. If you were, and I'm just going to say that, okay. So let's say I laid out $20,000 from day one of meeting Lorelai to the day that we got married. Let's just say, let's say it's 20 grand. Well, Lorelai has made way more than $20,000 in the years that she's been here to cover any of that expenditure. So if you look at this as a mathematical business deal, PAC and others, the money that you invest to bring them to America, you can recoup if you allow them to work, if you allow them to be an earner. But if you're one of these guys that are so afraid that their woman is going to run off with the next better guy and you don't let him out of the house, well, there you go. But yeah, I would be tickled to death if my wife had a $50,000 bonus a year. I would be happy to stay right here in this house for as long as she wanted if her bonuses was $50,000 a year. I would quit bitching and complaining about wanting to live in a warmer climate. I would, because if her bonus is $150,000 or $50,000 a year, well, her base salary has to be well over $100,000, right? So David would be nice enough to quit bitching and complaining about living in a warmer climate where I could go saltwater fishing every day. So, but now, if I could get her to do A, B, and C and do it all online or for a company close to the saltwater, then that'd be rock solid. Then I'd be really, really happy about that. That would make me very, very, very happy, very tickled to death. So, but we do the best we can. We deal with what we got. We roll with what we got. Yeah, I'll admit, Craig says she works 3 days a week and I work 2 on the average. Good balance now. That is part of the problem for us. I don't work. My wife works 5 days a week. I liked it better when we were living in the Philippines and neither one of us worked because we spent more time together, right? Even though we had lots of troubles in the Philippines, or there's other times like during COVID when she didn't work and that was restrictive, but it was still nice. And there's been other times where she's had a month or 2 off when we've gone and done a lot of things, and that's been nice. But you also miss the income. So I think you're right, Craig. You got to have that work-life balance. And it is a financial number, believe it or not. It really is a financial number. Because in the Philippines, it was great. We had plenty of money, but everything was so screwed up that we couldn't really get to do anything fun or worthwhile. In America, it's hard to have one income and to have any quality of life. But yeah, I mean, that's why I opted going, man, if she could work online, it'd be nice. And you could move around some and travel some and do some things and get some things in and get some things done. But yeah, you guys got the right balance, And I think that's important. I think it's important. And I think we'll get there someday. I just don't know when. And there's nothing more I can do about it but do what we can do about it. But she works full time. She makes okay money. Now, could she stand to make a whole lot more money? Yeah. But she makes okay money. It's good money for her. It's more now than she's ever made in her life, which is good. So she's not gone backwards financially at all. Her 401k is strong. Her stocks are strong. All of those investments are strong from her corporation. Her bonuses are getting better. So she's doing well, and she's young. She knows that she doesn't even have her Social Security credits yet because of the time that we took off from COVID all the way through the Philippines and back. She missed 2 years of Social Security credits. So usually you got to be workforce 10 years or 40 credits in the United States. So she missed it by 2 years. So instead of being 10 years in, she'll have to be here 12 years. And then she'll have her full 40 credits so that she can apply for Social Security benefits when she turns 63 and a half or whatever it is, or whatever it will be by then. So she still needs to work for her long-term future. And of course, she wants to work and she wants to make money. So I think that's a good thing. I do. I just get bored easily, and maybe that's my problem. I get bored easily, but physically there's not a lot I can do because of my health, but I get bored easily. And so it'd be nicer if we had the ability to go run and travel and do more together. It'd be a lot nicer. It'd be much more enjoyable to be able to do that versus, I stay home, because one thing the wives don't understand sometimes is for guys like me who are home a lot, we get used to it. It doesn't bother me to stay home because I'm used to it. But when she's off work, she's worked all week, so she wants to go and do and be busy. Well, to me, it's just another day of the week. So, no, she can't. Not in America. You can't pay that. No. Now, if you're self-employed, you can pay it. But no, I say that wrong. That's not how I mean it. It's not like the Philippines. In the Philippines, you can pay that. In America, you can't pay it. So if you are, how do I say that in America? No, basically, you can't do that. You cannot. You can't not. Because they base it on your wage. And so what wage would they base it on? So no, in the 40 credits, most people achieve it in 10 years. Now, what happens is, as I know you know all of this, the more money you make, the faster you reach that max. So let's say if you're making minimum wage in America and you work for 40 years, you're going to get maybe $1,000 a month. But if you're making $100, $200, $300,000 and you work for 20 years, you're going to max out on your Social Security benefits at about $5,800 or $5,300. So you're going to get the max. So the more you make, the bigger your check is when you retire. And that's what people need to strive for. People don't need to strive to work for 40 years. They need to strive to make as much money as they can in the least amount of time, because then it's going to be the biggest. You want the biggest checks. So, but yeah, you can't pay the credits back here. You can't do it. But I know her and I talked about in the Philippines because, she is a U.S. citizen, but she's a dual citizen. And I've asked her and wondered about, I said, now look, when I die, if you decide to go back and live in the Philippines, all you're going to get is the American money that we have. And when you turn 62 or 3, whatever it is, you can apply for Social Security while you're living in the Philippines. But what about Filipino Social Security? And she told me that in the Philippines, that she could buy her way into that system. So she could pay in for all the years that she missed working. She has a number of years to qualify, but she's missing a big gap of being here in America. So from what I understand in the Philippines, that she could write a check and pay into that and get that little check. Craig says, I am happy to stay home, play with the cars and my fish. She has hers work and friends and works as well. Yeah, it does. We do okay with that. I just get bored easily. I'd like to go fishing more. And, guys all know what I like. I like the tropical fish thing. I like to fish. I like to go outdoors. So I don't have a lot of guy friends anymore. I'm happy to kind of be I've always been a little bit of a loner. So, but my wife she likes to socialize. I go because I have to, because it's being a supportive husband. We have parties here because she likes it, and and all that. But to be honest, if I never saw more, I'm pretty happy kind of being mellow. I could find my own things to do. My SSSDI is not the biggest mountain, but I live on it. Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's what I told her. Depending on what happens long term, she may be better off living in the Philippines, or she may be better off living in America. We don't know. If we have friends that are going to have children that are going to like Lorelai, and Lorelai can be an auntie. We've offered to pay her best friend Karen, their daughter, when she goes off to college in a couple of years. We've offered to pay for her to go to nursing school, in hopes that she will come here to America to be a nurse, and then she can bring her mother Karen, over, and Lorelai can have her makeshift family here in America. They can all stay together, so that Lorelai doesn't feel like financially she has to go back to the Philippines. Healthcare is better in America. Lorelai would be better in the Philippines. It would just be cheaper at today's rate. 20 years, God only knows, in the Philippines, because the Philippines is not as cheap today as it was 5 years ago. Left the Philippines 3 years ago. That I can't do here. Pat says he's having a weak signal. Uh-oh, Pat. Did you pay the phone bill? Internet bill? But that's all I know. So, buffering here. All right. So let's do this. It's about time for me to get off of here anyway. I'm going to jump off of here and close out for the night, say goodbye, all of that good stuff for tonight. Maybe we'll do a live stream tomorrow in Branson, Missouri. It's kind of what we're going to plan for, maybe. But for tonight, I'm going to get over here. I'm going to try. It might be too breezy. I'm going to try to take a little bike ride before I go to bed. So thank everybody for coming in. Thank y'all. If you need me, let me know. Appreciate all you guys coming in. We're going to go back to doing the verticals here real soon, tomorrow. I just thought I'd come back and do a StreamYard. But thank you all. Appreciate you. Tim, Pat, everybody. Good to see y'all. Dennis, the Canadian Dreamer. Good to see you, my friend. Take care, everybody. And we will see you guys tomorrow.